Welcome back. Now, political seats have become a cash cow for many government officials in Nigeria. While the government complains of lack of funds and millions of citizens live below the poverty line, the nation's resources fall easily on the lap of many politicians. Recently, the Lagos state government announced plans to scrap pension for all former governors of the state and their deputies. According to the pension law passed by the House of Assembly in 2007, an ex-governor is entitled to the same basic salary with the incumbent governor, medical allowances and treatment in hospital now of their choice in any part of the world, in addition to other allowances. The law provides for 6 new cars every 3 years and a personal assistant now who will earn 25% of the governor's annual basic salary. Now, a former governor is also entitled to 8 policemen and 2 Department of State Services operatives for life. Now, there are many more, but this is just a few. So imagine how much now it would cost if we can save, if we can actually take this, well, you want to call it these huge pension benefits now away. Imagine how much we would be able to save, not just for Lagos State, but for states across this country. As a matter of fact, there are states in this country that have more generous pension benefits now for their former governors than that of Lagos State. And of course, Lagos is not the very first state actually to scrap, or Lagos is still planning to do so, so it has not actually scrapped it. But Lagos is actually not the first state government now to take this action. Zamfara state government actually took the action some time ago, scrapping pension benefits now for former governors and their deputies, including former speakers and their deputies as well. So, but we just wait and see what the state governor of Lagos State, he says there are plans to scrap it, so we're waiting to see when that will happen. But joining me now to discuss the issue further is Lanre Suraj, who is the chairman of Human and Environmental Development Agenda Header. Lanre, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Does it come to you as a surprise at all in any way that the Lagos State government is considering scrapping pension benefits now for former governors and their deputies?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that would claim to actually expect this must possibly have some either inside source to what happens within the political close family of Lagos State.
So you don't think the state government might just be taking a cue from Zamfara State?
No. I mean, this is not just what happened in Zamfara like yesterday, and also the fact that Lagos State is more complex than Zamfara, and you would also understand that power shifted from one political party to the other in Zamfara, which is not the same thing with Lagos State. But there's no doubt in the fact that Lagos State is also under serious pressure, both in terms of the control of the political godfather of Lagos, that is Asiwaju Tinubu, and also some of the governors in terms of accountability, transparency, and the issue of, open budget and implementation of programs on Lagos State. So, coupled with the recent EndSARS, advocacy and campaign, it became inevitable that Lagos would have no option than to start doing things differently. So, for some of us, yes, we hope to see more of this. We expect that Lagos would have to imbibe more of the true and genuine principles of, democratic accountability by reversing some of those, unwholesome laws, benefits, and also activities of the government. So
but let me quickly ask you this.
Really commendable.
Yeah, so let me quickly ask you this. I know it is actually popular, no doubt at all, and it's what quite a lot of people have been campaigning for, that that you just have to take away these generous pension benefits. But do you think everything should be scrapped? Don't you think certain aspects actually should be reserved for those who have held positions as governors and deputies in the past? For instance, is there anything wrong if a governor is entitled to, say, policemen and DSS operatives. Maybe not up to the number now stated in that law. And don't you also think that it just might be necessary? I'm asking this because, and I'll let you know why I'm asking this, because, don't you think it's necessary to have, no matter how small, some kind of pension for those who have occupied the position of governor, deputy governorship in the state? I'm not talking about Lagos State alone. I'm talking about states across the country, because the fear is that when there's nothing for a governor when he leaves office, then the chances that when the governor is in office, he would want to amass as much as possible to ensure that he protects himself, sustain himself after office, knowing that there's nothing for him to fall back on, so to speak.
I think, so this is very interesting question, and I'm happy that we're able to get this also in the front burner for extensive and holistic, not just superficial interaction or and debate on this issue. So there's a Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission that fixes salaries for public office holders, including their severance packages, pensions, and the rest of that. And so that is already been classified under the control of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission for determination. We had this aberration under the leadership of former Governor Tinubu in Lagos, which was the first state to pass a special one for the state. And that was where we had this very horrible trend of where many of the states started, copying that, and you saw the bogus of hundreds of millions that would be expended on governors of these states immediately after leaving office. Let us be very clear about it. An average person becoming governor in Nigeria is ultimately, under the current circumstances and dispensation, a wealthy person before becoming a governor. And what is it that you want to sustain after leaving governors 4 years and 8 years? You are not losing anything within that 4-year period, and that much we all know. For those
doesn't it then mean that we're sending a message that, look, it's only the rich, the very rich, who can be governor? That if you're not rich, you shouldn't aspire to be governor at all?
No, because if you're already satisfied with your status of not being rich, before becoming a governor, why do you want to then become rich after leaving office?
No, but that's the point. I'm not saying. Now, this is my point. I'm not saying you should become rich after leaving government. So supposing you come in, you're not rich, and you serve genuinely, serve with all of your heart and all of that, and you leave office. It's not as if you're rich, but we're saying, look, shouldn't the state, at least to some extent, take care of you, even if whatever you're getting is just symbolism, so to speak? Don't you think there should be some kind of pension?
For the 4 years, let me tell you, for the 4 years of an average governor, for the 4 years, the state takes care of almost everything, if not everything. I just said almost. Maybe I am ruling out, the possibility of conjugal relationship between husband and wife and the rest of that. But other things are totally covered for those 4 years that an average governor is in office. This is not, for me, recognizing some of those constitutional allocation and benefit, like the security votes and the rest of that. I don't want to dwell on that, because that is actually also illegal, and that should be stopped. But the other legal means, for those 4 years, you are more or less also saving your personal money, whereas state takes care, including the clothes that you wear, including the fueling of vehicles that you run, also providing feedings not only for your family, but even your guests for the period, which is why you will see in countries like America, it is already inbuilt into their salaries, and it is deducted, including in in the U.S., the president pays for occupying the White House. It's not for free. For using the private jet or the presidential jet, he pays for that. So it is where now we are paying for everything. So you're leaving office if you are Spartan or you are not that wealthy before coming to office. You should be happy that you're leaving the office after 4 years. And I can tell you, I just recently watched the video of Governor Fashola, who actually confessed during a live interview that he has never benefited from all this pension thing, that he is morally conflicted. I mean, it is just morally abhorrible for them to actually enjoy that kind of benefit after the state takes care of almost your existence for those 4 year period. And then you will still be looking forward to the state. If you're a professional, go back to your profession. The fact that you are a governor, even assist in advancing your business after you live there. So for an average lawyer who is a governor, on leaving office and performing exemplary in that office would automatically attract customers to you. Presidents of the United States are also just speaking as part of the source of income for them after leaving office.
All right. I understand your point perfectly well, but I'm just saying, what I'm saying is you also want to avoid a situation where whatever you're putting in place does not encourage people to go in there and become corrupt.
No, I agree with you. That was why I said there's the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission that is responsible for the payment of emolument, severance package, gratuity, and pension for the public office holders. But quite a number of the governors are just not satisfied with that and rather wants to do more by actually formulating those illegal policies using state houses of assembly under their tutelage to commit what we would call the larceny of legitimizing illegitimacy through the houses of assembly. I
was saying that of course, you would want other states to take a cue from Lagos State, because the truth is that we have other states too with such humongous pension benefits now for their former governors and deputies. Akwa Ibom is a good example. We have it in Kwara. We have it in almost all the states of the country.
Yeah. Yeah, we would need to. I mean, I can remember and I can inform that some civil society organization, including mine, actually challenged these pension laws in court, and the cases are still pending in court. Interestingly, some of the attorney generals of the states affected came to court to come and defend, the laws and also encourage the court to dismiss the matter. But the matter is still pending in court, and we're waiting the final conclusion of that legal action to declare those laws of the Lagos, the State House of Assembly, illegal with regards to the power already inherent in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
But the truth is that even without the court making pronouncement at all, you would expect that, morally speaking now, states should begin to take a cue from this, especially when you consider the economic situation in the country.
I expected that after the Sanfara experience. But what is obvious is that even some states where you have, a new party, taking over, like in Rivers State, it has really not changed anything. So it is not about party issue. It is actually about the political elite and the political class.
All right, Lanre Suraj, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for your contributions.
Always my pleasure. Thank you so much. Nice being with you.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. On DEJI360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
DEJI360, providing clarity to issues. All right, welcome back. Now let's discuss this issue of the pension fund. I'm now being joined on the program via Skype from the United States of America by Awal Rafsanjani, who is the Executive Director of Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center. Mr. Rafsanjani, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Does it come to you as a surprise at all that the Lagos state government is planning to scrap pension now for governors and deputy governors? That's former governors now and former deputy governors.
Well, it's not surprising in the sense that we in civil society, we have been advocating and clamoring that public office holders who have actually enjoyed all the benefits of government when they were, in the office, they were getting, salaries, allowances, and all sorts of privileges. We did not think that it is right and correct to continue to actually siphon public taxpayers' money on these few public office holders, while majority of people in the state suffering from not even getting decent wages, So we have been advocating for that, and we are happy that the Lagos state government is also joining other states like Zamfara state to also scrap that. There are obvious reasons for that. As you may know, the economy is shrinking, and there's no way to waste public taxpayers' money servicing the public office holders who have served and who have gotten all the retirement benefits and their salaries and allowances when they were serving. So for us, it is a good development, and we hope that the Lagos State Governor will have the courage to ensure that comes into effect.
Now, it's obviously quite popular to say you are scrapping it. I mean, it's something everybody had actually wanted to see. People have been pushing for it, and you just confirmed it that civil society organizations like yours have actually been campaigning for the scrapping of these pensions now. But in reality, do you think the pension should be scrapped completely for these category of public office holders now who would have served? Do you think it should be scrapped completely, or probably, just retain some, just as some kind of symbolism now, but completely drastically cut down on, remove the things that are not necessary? For instance, if, like the Lagos law says, a former governor or deputy should be entitled to, and his family now should be entitled to free medical care, should that be taken away? The reason I'm asking this question is, shouldn't there be some kind of reward as well for service, the kind of reward, for instance, that civil servants would get?
No, we are not talking about civil servants, alone. We are also talking about, high-profile political appointees.
Yes, I'm actually not talking about civil servants, but I'm saying, shouldn't there not be some kind of reward for these political appointees?
This kind of high-profile, public officers, they have enjoyed and they've benefited, and some of them, they are even collecting double, entitlement, because some of them, when they finish and serve as governor, they will run into Senate to become senators, and they will also continue to collect money, salary and allowances. And I think, it's double collection, because if you have served and you finish, you cannot continue to collect, double salary in the next, assignment that you are doing. So I think there's need to restructure this whole process because some people are collecting double, rewards, as you call it, and I think majority of workers are battling, struggling to earn a living decent. To earn a decent living. and they are not able to get that. Why should you be providing, houses and cars and medical, tourism for ex-governor or ex-deputy governor? I think, it's a waste of public taxpayers' money. And I think, anybody who have come to serve, must have made up his mind or her mind that you are coming to, help, not to tax the people, through their taxation. I think, it is important that all the states in the country, they reflect the reality of our economy at the various state and national level cannot sustain this waste and the embezzlement.
Mr. Rafsanjani, let me just pause you there. I understand you perfectly well, but I'm asking, the question is this. What I'm saying is, should we scrap the entire thing or probably retain some? And I'll give you an example. Take, for instance, the Lagos State pension law provides for 8 policemen and 2 DSS service personnel for a former governor. Now, should we say scrap that or probably cut down on the number of policemen that a former governor is entitled to have, or DSS personnel? Should we say scrap that? Should we also say, for instance, scrap free healthcare for a former governor or and their family members? Should we say scrap that or probably cut down on it? That's what I'm asking, because the reason I'm asking this is this. If you do not have some kind of reward after office, wouldn't that encourage these individuals who get in there to become more corrupt just because they want to sustain themselves after leaving office?
Let us not be rationalizing, irrational thing. All over the world, the system that they operate is not the same way we operate in Nigeria. Where are we duplicating and just wasting public taxpayers' money? While majority of people in the various states are languishing. They cannot have access to medical care. They cannot have access to education. They cannot have access to anything, and yet you are taking huge amount of money that should have been invested in people's welfare, and then you are giving it to just tiny group of people simply because they have served as governor or deputy governor. Meanwhile, when they were there, they were collecting their salaries, their allowances, and all other privileges, including when they are done with their tenure, they get package. They get a good package. I think the remuneration they are receiving, which is not the normal salary of civil servant, I think is sufficient. And they should know that anybody who is coming to serve as a governor or deputy governor is coming to serve the people, not to make money. And that is the reason why I think there's need to bring some level of sanity. And it is because of this, pre-money that you see that the political violence during the election is continued to intensify, because people want to be there at all costs. Because once you are elected as a governor or you impose yourself as a governor or deputy governor, you will have, careless money, you will have pre-money, and that is at the expense of the majority of the people in the state. So for me, if we are talking about seriousness in terms of economic sanity and ensuring that there's no waste in public arena, we need to scrap this. Why should you take a number of policemen to be guiding ex-governor or ex-deputy governor? Here in the United States, I am currently in America, and I've been meeting with so many, people who have served at different level of governance. Nobody is attaching any police to them. Why are you afraid that after you have served as governor or deputy governor, that you must have, 5, 8 policemen? This is a public waste of human resources. We cannot continue to do this. I think, if you know that you have served people, at the best of your ability, you do not need to have 5, 8 policemen following you. For what? When we need more police to police, our communities, our places, why should we have an individual having multiple number of policemen? This is not fair. I think there's need to change this system. And if Lagos State is serious, about doing this, they would join Zamfara State government to remove this, public waste of resources. And I think, if that happens, we will begin to see sanitizing governance, so that you reduce the quest for political struggle and political violence. Because once, people know that they will get this bonanza, they will do everything possible to engineer political violence in their favor so that they can get in there.
Right.
So we need to begin to reduce the risks, of undermining democracy. Democracy should not be a license for looting. What we are seeing now is politicians are just using democracy to enrich and, in fact, entrench poverty and, all sort of governance, confusion. Because if you continue to do this, there's no way we can sustain this kind of expenses.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Our Rafsanjani, Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you for sharing your thoughts on this very, very controversial issue, if I may say. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's how much we can take on the program. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.